Welcome to Creating Connections Podcast, episode number 105. I am Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Vicki Musney.
And today we're going to talk about one of the chapters in the Creating Connections book, 31 Days to Building Stronger and Deeper Relationships, as Vicki plays Vanna and shows you the front cover of our book. Chapter 2, make eye contact. More after the break.
That was nice and easy.
What are you talking about? This also speaks to a much bigger issue.
Providing personal solutions through understanding people. This is the Creating Connections podcast with Gitomer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney.
We want to just let you know before we dive into this chapter that Mitch and I are really working hard to get a little more structured as we move into our second 100 podcasts.
We are?
We are. Oh. I am. I know you keep fighting me on it, and it scares me when I'm the one that's wanting structure and needing more details. That's kind of a scary reality since I'm the more yellow one of the two of us. But yes, maybe that's why, because I know that I tend to be scattered and tend to not plan really far ahead on certain things naturally. It has helped me feel a lot better that I have our next 50 episodes laid out in a beautiful little Excel spreadsheet. But what I want you to know as part of our audience is that we are going to be hitting certain topics once a month. So it won't be so much of a, gee, I wonder what in the world they're going to talk about today. But you'll start to kind of realize that once a month, we are going to share a personal story, something that happened to me or to Mitch in a real life sales situation at one of our events, something that where we got really great customer service or really lousy customer service, but something personal. Once a month, we're going to be answering a question from the Sales for Event Pros forum. So we'll just pick one of those questions that people post and turn that into an episode and share in a little bit more detail our thoughts on that. Once a month, we will have a guest interview. And once a month, we're going to be hitting on a different chapter of our Creating Connections book, since this concept of creating connections is the core of why we do this podcast. We thought,
absolutely.
Oh, wow, we wrote the book based on things that we were talking about on the podcast. Let's make sure we're revisiting those things. And then if there is a fifth week in the month, fifth Monday, when we are airing our episodes, then that month we'll come back and hit one of our core, our pillar concepts of something core to who we are, either about personalities or about sales, and how that ties into you guys in the events industry.
Yeah.
So with all of that background, Mitch, let's talk about chapter 2.
Yeah, chapter 2 for the book, Creating Connections, 31 Days to Building Stronger and Deeper Relationships, is make eye contact. Now think back to when you were dating and you probably made eye contact with that certain someone that you wanted to connect with on a deeper level. Mm-hmm. You probably smiled too. And that is key. You know, Shakespeare said, the eyes are the window to the soul. And that is so true. And so I want you to key in on this concept, a very simple concept, but one that is often neglected and overlooked in today's day and age of cell phones and distractions and texts and vibrations and, notifications.
Even when we're doing things over video, it's harder to make eye contact. Focus! I know you are.
So eye contact is crucial. That's when you'll find Vicki and I often are looking literally like right here at the camera. Maybe we're like glancing down at a note or two, but we're often right here at the camera. Mm-hmm. And that's because we want to connect with you. Now, if you're listening to this over audio podcast and iTunes, thank you for subscribing. We greatly appreciate it. And we do want you to keep listening, because even though your ears are engaged, we want your eyes to be focused on the road if you're driving. However, we want you to think about this next time you're having that interaction with someone, is to be there, to be present. If you think about that in the double sense of the word, that is your present to them, is to be present.
Being present is a gift
in the
for
moment.
sure. Mm-hmm.
So I want to encourage you to do that and to keep eye contact. Now, I'll share with you a little story. Vicki and I have gone around the country producing, hosting workshops and breakout sessions and things of that nature for varying different associations and groups and chapters and things like that. And one of the things we've noticed over the years is when we sit down and have a breakout session, let's say, or have a workshop, let's say, one of the activities that I've done is to literally walk around the room, look people in the eye, and shake their hand. Now, in this case, typically we're around a boardroom or we're around a long table and people mostly are seated. And that is part of the activity, is to see what happens.
How will they respond?
Yeah, how will they respond? Are they actually making eye contact with me when I stick out my hand for the handshake? That's customary American culture, is for handshake. Every different culture has different greetings that they may have. In America, that is definitely the handshake. And so for me to make the rounds to the tables, sometimes eye contact is absolutely present. Sometimes it may not be. Varying different distractions could be happening. Or the biggest thing that I found is that people aren't using proper etiquette.
Either they don't know or they don't care.
Yeah, and either one
a little
is
bit of
not,
both.
and either one is not good, in my opinion. So proper etiquette would be, if someone greets you, to shake their hand, and you are in a seated position and they are in a standing position, or regardless of what position they are in, you stand up and you stick out your hand and you look them in the eye and you shake hands. Typically at least 3 pumps, typically. And again, that is proper etiquette, to look someone in the eye and to be standing. It's a sign of respect. And if you don't do that, I'm not saying you don't necessarily respect the person. You may, but it could be seen as a sign of disrespect by someone else, the person on the receiving end of the handshake. So I encourage you to, keep eye contact at top of mind for yourself whenever you're trying to create a connection. Eyes are the windows to the soul, and it is crucial to helping you create a stronger, deeper connection with anyone that you may come in contact with.
Exactly. And in the book, this chapter is in the context of when you're meeting new people, which often happens in those one-on-one situations like Mitch was just talking about, when you're at a networking event, or if you're at the wedding or event where you're performing or working, you're going to be meeting a lot of different people, either other staff, other event pros, wedding guests, bridal party. You're going to have lots of those situations. But I'm also going to kind of jump ahead a little bit. From later, we talk about creating connections with colleagues, that peer-to-peer, that event pro to event pro, and we're out networking and meeting people. Keep this in mind too. And I know, like, as DJs who MC and people in the audience that may officiate or that are used to being on the mic, being up in front of people, this may not be a big deal. But if you're maybe more used to being behind the camera and you don't love talking to people, and you're at one of those networking groups and they say, it's time to stand up and do self-introductions and tell us a little bit about your company and who you are, don't freak out. And don't listen to all of that bad advice that's out there about, oh, well, just look at the tops of people's heads or look right over them and no one will know.
Imagine them naked.
People, that's the worst
advice you could ever receive.
But no, just make eye contact at a friendly face and look at an individual person. People can tell when you're looking at someone versus when you're looking around or over or down. People know. So if you find yourself in that situation, and there's maybe tables, at a networking event or something, and it's your turn to stand up, just look to the far side of the room in the center and pick out one person and just look their direction for a few minutes, make eye contact for a few moments, and then look to one side, pick a different individual. Maybe someone you know, maybe someone you haven't met, just someone who's smiling. And that can help you relax. And then look to the other side and just make eye contact with another person. Again, in a large setting, you can't make eye contact with every single person at once.
Right.
But train yourself to make eye contact with people in different parts of the room. And it will help you relax, but it'll also help you connect better.
In today's fast-paced society, making eye contact is almost the equivalent of the handshake. Almost.
Yeah, where you can just kind of nod at someone when they walk by. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dudes do that all the time. Guys just, hey,
yeah.
You know.
Okay, so I'm gonna go here because I had someone ask us this after a time when we were talking about creating connections, and they brought this up, and the question that they asked was, I try to do this, I try to be intentional about making eye contact, but how do you do it without coming off as creepy? Or like looking at, I don't know. That was the way the question was worded to me.
So,
I mean, I have my thoughts, but in case anybody else has had that experience, that I'd bring it up.
Well, I think it depends on your intentions. You know, you have to have pure intentions. And as long as your intentions are pure, it's not going to come off as creepy, in my opinion. Yeah. Your thoughts?
Oh, I would say it also depends on if you're having a one-on-one conversation or if there's a group. And if you're talking to a group of people and you are only making eye contact with one, that is going to feel weird. Yeah. That's going to feel creepy. Like if you're singling one person out and staring, that's to me is a little bit different than making eye contact with the different people that you're talking to.
Yeah.
And so maybe just be aware of how long you're holding eye contact with someone. Mm-hmm. And you can still be engaged and fully present in the moment. But, you know, blink, glance, it's okay. You know, move your head. You don't have to just, you know, stare. Yes. So focus. There's ways to do it. So I guess Absolutely. My advice would be, if you find yourself being uncomfortable, try it with people in your closest circle first. Mm-hmm. You know, think about it when you're with family, with your closest friends, and think about how you engage them when you're feeling really natural. Mm-hmm. And then ask yourself, okay, what am I doing here? Okay, yeah, I've noticed I've actually was doing a good job of looking at the 3 different people sitting around me at the table. Maybe I can, you know, be more focused about doing that. Maybe I do have a tendency to stare at one person, and that's why it comes off as creepy. Yeah. So kind of a little weird side tangent, but it related to the eye contact. And I did have someone ask me that at a networking event one time. So
definitely things to think about and keep in mind when you're creating eye contact. Making eye contact is so important to establishing a connection. This is Creating Connections, episode number 105. I am Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Vicki Musney.
And join us upcoming at Midwest DJs Live. We present Creating Connections, the seminar. We're not giving you the entire book. We don't have time to give you the entire book, but we're picking out specific chapters to really help you focus and hone in on those creating connection skills. And looking forward to joining you for that at Midwest DJs Live coming up.
That's a fun show. I'm looking forward to being back there.
May 1st and 2nd. If you don't have your tickets yet, get your tickets at MidwestDJsLive.com. Thank you for joining us this week. I'm Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Vicki Musney.
And Creating Connections podcast, we provide personal solutions through understanding people better. See you next time.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to the Creating Connections podcast with Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney. For more information on providing personal solutions through understanding people better, visit creatingconnections.biz.